Levine. My educational talk today is a tip for parents. And oftentimes, when you have a child with depression or bipolar disorder, one of the hardest roles is being a good parent because many times I have seen that the child doesn't want your support. They're often quite angry, hostile, and they think that everything is going to be fine. But you, as a parent, maybe see things differently. There are lots of examples where a child may be getting violent, they may be aggressive, no longer participating in school, in activities, or being with friends. And as a parent, you start to grow concerned and nervous. And this is often when parents reach out and call a doctor or a therapist and try to find out what the issue is. And I want to share my own life story, and it illustrates how my parents did a great job to support me during a very tough time. So I remember when I was first hospitalized and diagnosed with bipolar disorder, I was very upset and angry, and I was blaming my parents. But I started to see as time went on that they were trying to support me. This meant that they would take me to all the different therapists or doctors. Even when I was mean or nasty, they would try to be there and support me moving forward. And it was a long process over 2 years to get the right treatment and the right medicines and therapy and slowly start to rebuild my life. And it's been about 20 years since that time. And I look back on those situations and I realized that if it wasn't for my parents being in my corner and helping me to handle what was happening, I maybe would have given up. I maybe would have become addicted to drugs. I maybe, wouldn't have been able to move forward. And the biggest thing I've seen is that parents sometimes call me and they're just so frustrated because it's really hard to help someone and support them when they are nasty or angry or volatile. But I believe as a parent, your role is to do what's best for the child. And if this means getting them support or help, then even if the child doesn't like it, then you maybe are doing the best for them. And I found with my own kids, they're quite young, that I have to be in charge. And even if I want to be their friend and help them, that's awesome. But it's my role as a parent to really, keep an eye on what they're doing and help them move forward. And when your child has depression or bipolar, it's so important to really think of what's the most appropriate way to go on. And, sometimes as a parent, we really see deeply into the minds and lives of our children. So if you have a teenager, an adult child, and you really know that they're not in the best place, get them some help. And sometimes I've seen that people only get the help when they really are forced to. I was working in a rehab facility for some time as a therapist and found many of them were there because they were mandated by court or by the legal system to, face their addictions. And what was interesting is oftentimes they would actually make changes because they had to be there. And as much as they didn't want to get support and they didn't want to deal with the problems, by having to face it, it helped them to say, you know what, my life was a mess, or, I really did have a addiction. And I think it's similar with mental health issues too. Maybe by getting them the support and the treatment, they will end up being healthy again. And when they get that clarity back into their life, they can say, you know what, Mom and Dad, you were there. You helped me. You didn't give up on me. You didn't let me pretend like there wasn't a problem. And you may find out that all the work you do as a parent one day gives them a bright future. And the last thing I'm going to say is it can be a really long and hard process to support a child with mental illness, but don't give up on them because that child maybe has a bright future. And when I was in the hospital and things looked so bad those 2 years, we didn't know what the outcome would be. But I'm here 20 years later and I've been married for many years. I have two beautiful children. I've been able to do a lot of education and share my story all over the world. And this has taught me that if that could be my future, then maybe your child could, have some type of positive outcome. And I always like to encourage people to believe that if they get help, maybe things will get better and they can have a bright future. And when I work with people that the parents have me help, I always say, you know what, you may be going through this now, but don't give up on your dreams. The goals and desires in your heart may one day come true. And I'm very blessed to be able to share my own experience and to maybe help some other people. And even all the creative things I used to love to do, I've been able to write all these books that are published and share my experiences online and in many sources. And I found that It's really been a blessing to be able to look back and say, you know what, my mom and dad were there for me and I appreciate what they did. So you have an awesome day. You can check below our website, bipolaronline.com. And I hope wherever you are, you keep fighting the good fight, because it can be hard and difficult, but in the long run, it's worth it.